Hello, dear listeners. This is part 2 of Pride Month Out of the Vault, which is not really relevant to Pride Month at all, beyond the fact that everybody on the podcast is queer. But again, we treat every day like it's Pride Month around here anyway, so fuck it, we are working with what we got. And we missed this podcast birthday by like a month. Give us a break. Now just sit back, relax, and enjoy the story, okay? There once was a miller who was poor, but he had one beautiful daughter. It happened one day that he came to speak with the king, and, to give himself consequence, he told him he had a daughter who could spin gold out of straw. The king said to the miller, "This is an art that pleases me well. If thy daughter is as clever as you say, bring her to my castle tomorrow, that I may put her to the proof." When the girl was brought to him, he led her into a room that was quite full of straw, and gave her a wheel and spindle, and said, "Now set to work, and if by the early morning thou hast not spun this straw into gold, thou shalt die." And he shut the door himself and left her there alone. And so the poor miller's daughter was left there sitting, and could not think what to do for her life. She had no notion how to set to work to spin gold from straw, and her distress grew so great that she began to weep. And then, all at once, the door opened, and in came a little man who said, "Good evening, miller's daughter. Why are you crying?" Welcome to A Neat Retelling, the podcast where we explore all the ways old tales are made new, and happy 3rd anniversary? Thank you? But why? I am your host, Jasmine Garcia, and joining me today are...
Shamila Karnakaran, and this Rumpelstiltskin is not to be confused with the horror film by the creator of the Leprechaun series. Look for the authentic Billy Barty on your cover today.
I'm Gillian. I don't think I have an intro bit. I had one about names, but it doesn't work when you introduce yourself first, you know?
It doesn't. Yeah, it's almost like how in Once Upon a Time, it really makes no sense that Rumpelstiltskin is constantly saying what his name is. But we've been over that before.
We have. Y'all have.
And I'm Jen Seggio, and I'm greedy. Yes, indeedy.
God. As I said in my Letterboxd review, the sad thing is that is the most realistic part of this movie. But yes, Jen Seggio for the very first time. We're very excited about that as well.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, of course. We're happy to have you, especially for such an auspicious occasion as this. So, as I've mentioned before, for those of you who've been listening for a long time, every anniversary, I kind of want to do something about why my brain is broken in this way. So I kind of gone through the timeline so far. We've done Little Mermaid, we've done Once Upon a Time before our weekly schedule kind of got thwarted a little bit, so now we're doing that every 50 episodes. Last year we did Muppet Classic Theater, which, interestingly enough, was my first actual introduction to the subject matter of this year's podcast. And so now this year we are talking about the 1987 canon film adaptation of Rumpelstiltskin starring Billy Barty and Amy Irving.
Greetings, I am IER60, Star Wars Retelling Connections. Point of intersection found. This is a degree 4. Clive Reville played the Emperor in The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh,
Yeah.
canon movie tales.
Yeah. I will actually go slightly off format this time to kind of explain why I picked this particular one, because this was in the rotation of videos we would often borrow from the library for some reason. I feel like I watched this at least a dozen times before I hit middle school. For some reason, little Jazz just fucking loved the story of Rumpelstiltskin, particularly this version, as well as a book that I'm currently rereading that is already held up so much better than this. Jesus Christ. But yeah, what is everyone else's connection to the grim fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin that we've weirdly talked about a lot on this podcast between Muppets and Once Upon a Time?
So, I don't exactly remember when I first heard the original version of Rumpelstiltskin. I know it was like part of the rotating list of fairy tales that we would always read in like grade school, but then 5th grade comes, and my teacher introduces us to Rumpelstiltskin's daughter, and that kind of planted the idea of the miller's daughter and Rumpelstiltskin getting together instead of her getting with the king. They did it first before Once Upon a Time.
That was actually a heavy inspiration for a kind of story that you and I pitched early on in our friendship on Tumblr.
Yep, Golden Sugar.
Golden Sugar. We would probably recast that now. We cast Rodriguez at the time.
Yeah.
But you can still find that post on Shami's Tumblr. If you are interested, we can put a link in the description.
Yep.
But yeah, that was like one of the first things we bonded over.
Yeah.
My first introduction to Rumpelstiltskin was through a children's book, but not just a regular picture book, but one that had the little buttons on the side where you pressed while reading the story would make a certain sound.
Nice.
And those sounds live rent-free in my head. The way Rumpelstiltskin always says, fiddlesticks. And the miller's daughter, whose name was Mara, I always see that as her name when, they never give her one because of that book. Always says, oh dear. It's adorable, and yeah, the illustrations are very nice, and I think I still have it. So
nice.
As someone who is decidedly the baby among us, I know I have read it. I know I've probably had it read to me. My first time actually seeing an adaptation might have been a snippet of the Hallmark fairy tale series that wasn't Fairy Tale Classic Theater that Olivia Newton-John hosted.
How many of these were there?
A solid amount, I suppose.
Yeah, even Shelley Duvall did a version.
Well, Shelley Duvall I knew about. If anything, everything else sounds like a knockoff of that.
has anyone ever watched the Happily Ever After Fairy Tales for Every Child version of Rumpelstiltskin?
I don't know if I have, but I know that it's out there.
Yeah, my dad worked at HBO, and he got like the first 5 episodes for me, and Rumpelstiltskin was on there. And that version's a lot of fun too, because they make it Rastafarian, and so we get a little bit of like a nice Jamaican flair to it. He's a lot of fun.
Nice. Also, Blooming Spectre. Also, I did not see Shrek Forever After because I was disappointed by Shrek the Third, and also grew out of it. So
Shrek is arguably also a looming specter, I would feel like, at this point. Spoiler alert, dear listeners. I did not care for Shrek.
Valid.
We will get into that eventually, especially since apparently they're going to be coming out with another one.
What? When was this?
Apparently they are working on it, on a 5th one. I'll believe it when I start seeing actual promotional material and them not just riding off the anniversary coattails.
Well, they did release a teaser.
Oh, did they? Oh, God.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
they did.
Once upon a time, a hideous ogre and a delusional donkey embarked on a journey to the magical city of further away.
Oh my God, it's happening. It's really happening. Do you know what that means? I need a makeover. Get my arms yoked and my back jacked, my ass added, maybe even tighten up my badonkadonk.
No, definitely not.
So what you're saying is Shrek and Donkey off on another...
No, don't say it.
2 stalwart friends.
That's not what this is.
On a whirlwind,
Donkey.
big city.
Oh, I'm caked up like a friggin' bakery.
Adventure.
Wanna date a snowman?
Speed up, Shrek.
Editor Jasmine here. What did I do to deserve this?
Whole stupid internet controversy about how they changed the designs or whatever. I don't know. The only really good Shrek movie is Shrek 2. And I'm a fan of the musical, even though not many people like it. It's actually pretty good.
Well, that also has a pro shot, so that is also something we could possibly do someday.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of circling back to all of the Shelley Duvall fairy tale theater knockoffs. Was this just because Disney was kind of in its flop era at the time? Is that why we had all of these, like, wannabe babies first fairy tale things, maybe?
The timeline adds up because Shelley Duvall started in 82. The Renaissance doesn't happen until 89. So we're still in the doldrums period.
Yeah, we got Don Bluth filling in with, the good animation, and Disney was just trying to be the next big dark fantasy thing, because we got stuff like Return to Oz, Something Wicked This Way Comes, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I guess Canon decided to fill in that niche fantasy musical genre for the families.
Yeah, like specifically fairy tales.
Mm-hmm. And apparently this Rumpelstiltskin was like the first installment of like the canon film movie tale series. It apparently also includes Red Riding Hood with Isabella Rossellini and Puss in Boots with Christopher Walken.
I heard about that one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I heard about that and this from way back when, this is going to date me internet-wise, Pause music movie reviews. Did anyone remember watching those?
I loved those. Like, we may not talk about that channel anymore, but we will talk about the good people that I at least got to know because of that. Like, I remember I watched that episode on this because I do still hold such nostalgic affection for it, but I hadn't really watched it in such a long time. And as I was watching the review, I'm like, oh no, what was my inner child thinking? And I knew eventually I would have to tackle it on my little passion project here, and so here we are. And I've inflicted it onto my friends.
I did not know they had done a Rumpelstiltskin. I was aware of their Sleeping Beauty because Diva did a review on it, and I was aware of their Beauty and the Beast because I'd mentioned this channel before, but Band Geek 8408's Books versus Movies reviews, they cover somebody. You don't. Oh my god, you don't. Okay, because they cover, or he, in one of his personas, covered the Beauty and the Beast when he trying to do a Nostalgia Critic knockoff thing. But also, these movies have a look, they have a sound, they have lush forests, period costumes, a Casio keyboard, and a dream. There's charm in them.
Isn't that just 80s fantasy movies in general?
This is no Willow, unfortunately.
Well, no. What could be Willow? What could be the Princess Bride?
At one point, Rumpelstiltskin actually does refer to Katie as the Princess Bride. Like, and I kept thinking, stop reminding me of better 80s fantasy movies.
Oh my god, I completely missed that part. Jesus Christ. If they did that on purpose, shame on them. And it's also kind of weird that this was my first introduction to Amy Irving as an actress, given that later on I would get obsessed with Carrie. But, of course, when I was watching this, that was not the case.
No, I mostly knew her as the singing voice with Jessica Rabbit.
When I found that out, I was surprised, because if I'm being completely honest, I feel like this must have been out of her range a little bit. She's a little pitchy.
It was.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's like, whenever she sung those high notes, like, there was, like, physical pain. Like, she's clearly singing way above her register.
I just want to live a life of ease, to do as I please in an elegant way. My world is simple, but I'd like to sample the world beyond the mill. Whenever I want to, my daydreams are drawn to the castle on the hill. With a crown on my head, I'll eat breakfast in bed.
And it's not like she's bad. She's definitely doing her best with it.
It sounds very thin when she's reaching those higher notes, so...
You think her brother would have taken that in mind because her brother actually wrote and directed this movie.
I feel like it must have been because, well, you know, fairy tale princesses have
these really high soprano voices, and heaven forbid we ever have someone with an alto voice. Oh my!
And I say this as a mezzo-soprano.
She is a great singer. She has done Jessica Rabbit, of course, as we said, and this is, this is what happens when you get a good singer but force them to sing something beyond their range. Like, there's hints of, like, maybe a good song, a good voice there, but it's just being wrung through something it's not meant for.
Or maybe not, because also, I mean, listen, clearly these songwriters were no Macon and Ashman.
There's, like, surprisingly good lyrics for how generic the I Want songs or villain songs, or it mostly came up with Queen of the Castle, where, like, this is solid for how generic it is.
They're going for details of her dream, so that's nice.
Yeah.
I did check out Paul's review before we started recording, and apparently the guy behind the music and the songs for this did do some stuff for Pee-wee's Playhouse, but as far as he said, that's like one of his only credits, that and this, so I don't know.
And, as iconic as that show was, it was very much geared towards kids, so you could very much do the simpler things. And not to say that this wasn't also geared towards kids, but I feel like more narrative was hanging on this than most of the songs of Pee-wee's Playhouse would be, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, sometimes you could just write a little ditty to fill in the time, but when you have to carry an entire film musically, it's much more of a challenge.
The I Need a Miracle song, I actually kind of liked that one. Partially because I think they kind of stayed away from the higher notes with her.
I need a miracle, only a miracle could help me now in my hour impossible. Papa, you see where your stories can lead.
I like the name song, like good punchline at the end.
Aaron, Absalom, Abraham, Abe, what must I do to save my little babe? Abel, Abernathy, Abner, Ace, I'll never get done at such a pace. Barney, Bernie, or Bernard, Bertram, Bob, it's just too hard. Casper, Constantine, and on and on. My, aren't you glad that we named you John?
And then there's also like Straw into Gold.
Straw into Gold.
Did you like it, or was it just pushed on you?
I think it was just pushed on me because they play those first few notes when the film is like opening, and then they play it all through the film, especially when within that rumor scene where everyone is just like, okay, don't pass this around, but you know they're gonna blab the second they like turn away.
And the weird thing is, like, it feels like this should be, like, a full-flown, like, ensemble number, but they kind of half-ass it. Like, there's no accompaniment anywhere. Just kind of random sprinkles of some of these guys singing bits of Straw into Gold, and I'm just like, it feels like we need some orchestration here. It feels like we need the whole ensemble singing it.
I have in my notes, it reminds me of the Who's Line game, where they have to come up with a song based on the last thing they said.
Oh my god, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. It's very much that, but it's just like, where is the rumor in St. Petersburg energy in this?
Or the rumor from Fiddler.
But anyway, dear listeners, since according to some of my dear friends, the story does not endure, for those of you who don't know,
basically we have a poor miller and his daughter, and in this particular version, Mr. Miller would have loved the age of the internet, where it would be so easy to just go on and spread misinformation. And to what fucking end? Genuinely, I do not understand. Like, this particular version of him is just constantly saying these impossible things that his daughter can do, which, on some level, sure, brag on your daughter, that's awesome. But, like, brag on her in ways that she can actually follow up on it, maybe?
Instead of insisting everything she touches turns into gold, this could, like, spin way out of control and get the king's attention, and if she doesn't spin all this straw into gold, she's gonna get executed.
Yes, I could see that working. Let the rumor mill do the work.
Yeah, and the thing is, what was kind of interesting is that, like, not only is he clearly very silly, she's also kind of silly. Like, really nobody in your life has told you, hey, maybe let's set our expectations a little bit lower?
I was thinking that maybe, like, the mother, like Katie's mom, who died earlier, she might have been like a tempering influence in that, but then when she wasn't there, it just like went way out of check.
Yeah, but we never really hear anything about the mom except for the necklace, so...
And for the cooking, especially with the Miller saying that Katie doesn't measure up to her mom's cooking.
That's true, but yeah, great. All we know about the dead mom is that she cooked well and gave a necklace.
This movie does not pass the Bechdel test.
No, not remotely. You could not imagine a sapphic ship out of this thing. But anyway, like, she is fully convinced that, no, I could only be happy if I marry a prince and I'm able to be queen. And I'm just like, I mean, at least you're not full on Cora Mills and Once Upon a Time, but like maybe, again, you are a poor miller's daughter. It's going to be very difficult for this to happen. Or maybe I'm wrong because the prince literally ends up at her doorstep.
She wants to be financially stable, and really, who doesn't? Considering the economic state of the kingdom.
Yeah, but you don't have to link yourself to royalty to do it. Like, the king is the absolute worst, and I don't think, like, Henry could, like, stop him from, like, rampaging or doing whatever, or, like, the taxes.
I mean, he clearly tried. He was just like, no, don't take the last of the miller's grain, you monsters. But it's just like, okay, fine, your father's going to hear about... Well, he don't say his father because he's doing the fairy tale prince thing of pretending he's not the prince. I can't imagine that actually happened very often, but it's such a common trope.
Here's the thing, though. Katie recognizes that the prince is watching her from, like, across the pond. But then when he comes up to be all noble and, you know, save them from debt, she doesn't recognize him.
Like, I must imagine, like, she just assumed it, or, like, her imagination got away with her. and it just so happened that it was right.
And he doesn't even say anything, so she probably just thought she was imagining him. Like, staring at it across the pond, like, that doesn't really sell like the idea of the insta-love here.
No, they very much hammered down, yep, nope, they're just immediately in love with each other. Like, you could almost buy it in their first actual interaction, at least, kind of.
But we don't see much of it.
No, we do not see very much of them interacting. But that I could almost forgive. This was a proto-Disney Renaissance fairy tale movie. You were mostly just going to be like, yeah, they're in love because that's what the story needs. Shut up. Not that romance was ever really a big part of this fairy tale, so. But I guess it is kind of a hard sell, or at least at the time it was a hard sell to have a fairy tale that didn't have the fairy tale romance. Which is kind of odd when you think about it.
Romance sells. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, even with the kids' movies, I guess. Like, not that I am against romance and kids' movies, obviously, but, like, it is kind of funny how many of these kinds of things really do try to sell that to children who, like, I would say 6 out of 10 times are like, ew, boys or ew, girls.
And I would know, because when I was in teachers college, we had a class where all the kids in the auditorium were watching Tangled, and the second the kiss scene showed up, everyone was like, ew!
Is this a kissing book? Exactly. Which, it's funny how that happens. I'm sure there's some interesting psychological, sociological explanation for it all.
Puberty.
Well, yes, of course. But I mean, before that. Like, Henry is an okay character, though. Like, you know, he's kind of standard.
He's just kind of the standard fairy tale prince. He's certainly better than his father.
That's kind of the bare minimum in this movie. I mean, he doesn't really go out of his way that much, except for maybe in the third time where she has to do the task, and he sets all the clocks back in the palace to give her more time, which is nice. That's clever.
Cute. That was cute. This version of it does kind of emphasize that Henry and Katie are both above average intelligence in this kingdom, I guess is the kindest way of putting it.
No one in this movie has a brain cell except for Henry. Maybe Katie sometimes. And the grumpy guard who said that Rumpelstiltskin and the talking bird were real.
I'm kind of sad he didn't get vindicated, like, on screen. I feel like he deserved to get vindicated on screen.
Yeah, he should have, like, pointed and said, I knew it.
Told you? I told you. You know, it's funny how we've gone this far in a Rumpelstiltskin movie without really talking about our Rumpelstiltskin.
Billy Barty is having such fun here.
Yeah, he's having fun. It's also funny since he's the first person we're introduced to.
It's so funny hearing him and imagining Figment saying all these things, because that was what I first thought of.
Yeah, he speaks in rhyme the entire time. Also, this is kind of the first instance I've seen Rumpel be described as an elf. I usually see him being a goblin or a fae, and no, we don't count him being a human under a dark curse around these parts.
The way Rumpelstiltskin works feels very much like the Fae or the Fairfolk, where names have power and he wants to, steal away children for his own means, that sort of thing. Though here they make him kind of like this weird little, like in a movie, a cave-dwelling imp in a way.
And I think he literally just wants like a prince's son because he wants someone to cook for him so he can go out and have fun. I mean, it's not
out and out what he says.
Yeah, and it's completely in character for him to use child labor.
It's so nice of this movie to just out and out state the villain's motivations within the first 5 minutes.
He specifically wants a princess's son, which I'm not sure if that's for the rhyme or he just wants to be able to brag about it, and he'll take.
Or maybe it's his way of eating the rich.
Yeah. He wants the baby right away to do all the work, but does he realize he's going to have to take care of this baby until it's old enough to understand how to do chores?
It would not surprise me. It would not surprise me if he genuinely did not understand how human babies work. But on the other hand, maybe he is aware of it. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to have to raise him to want to serve me. I don't know. I'm not sure if he's responsible enough for that.
Not really thinking things out in the long run. Also, his opening lines are, I'm a little person and an elf and all that. And so I'm thinking somewhere Peter Dinklage is seething right now.
Yep. Yeah.
Rightfully so, honestly. That's fair. That's honestly so fair. Go ahead.
Also, I did think, like, Rumpelstiltskin does have the talking bird. He probably expected the bird to raise the baby.
Ah, so that's why the bird decided, you know what? No, I'm not into this. I'm gonna sabotage you now.
The bird pops up and he always has something little snarky to say, almost like a kind of like a proto Iago sort of. But
a little bit.
Yeah, I was wondering what the deal with the talking bird was. Is he a familiar? Is he just a servant? Or is it like, well, we joked in the Nosferatu episode that the book that Hutter finds was actually a human transfigured into a book. So it's likely that the bird was one of Rumpel's victims.
And that would make sense why he kind of helps sabotage things. He steals the necklace and makes fun of him and then helps give away the name later.
Yeah, but it's just, we don't really learn that much about him. He's just kind of there, and he just kind of randomly decides, yeah, I'm not sticking with you anymore.
Editor Jasmine here, that was a joke, but also it turns out that was a result of me missing a very blink and you miss it moment where the bird gets stuck, and a character we'll talk about very soon after this helps him get free when Rumpelstiltskin kind of abandoned him. So, okay, I guess I get why he turned on Rumpelstiltskin, but again, very blink and you miss it moment. Character development is not at a premium with this movie.
I'm gonna sabotage your efforts and make sure you literally break the floor. I can't believe that's what they decided to be canon about, having him literally break the floor under him and get basically dropped into hell.
And with the devil told you that?
With the little hat hovering for a second before it falls.
Great cartoony touch there.
It is textually canon, which is the weird thing.
They try to shoot it in stop motion, but it's like the frames start and stop. You can't even get that right.
You did not have the budget for that.
Like I said, they had budget for locations at most.
Yeah.
Well, even the locations are kind of iffy. I feel like they recycled some of the scenery or sets from some of the other movies, or they would down the line.
Would not surprise me.
I recognize the balcony outdoors in the courtyard from Beauty and the Beast, and the nursery looks like it's the same one as the princess's room in The Frog Prince.
Okay.
In fact, there's a mural there where they have other fairy tale characters and locations, which feels like very subtle pushing, the next movies they're gonna do.
Also, that is the most horrifying looking pictures I've ever seen, especially with the one with the frog in the crown.
Yeah, the Frog Prince looks so, I don't know, the way it's painted looks so inappropriate. The way he's posing and looking, it's like a painting, like one of your French girls.
And then the little, the life-size dolls with it in the nursery itself, and then we get Rumpelstiltskin posing among those dolls.
Yeah, I think they put them there just for that gag or introduction. It's so strange.
Yeah, but also, I know you said that he rhymes everything, but he actually really doesn't. He mostly only rhymes when he's around Katie. It's a little inconsistent, which he's a magical little person. I guess he has an image to uphold.
If he's in front of humans, he has to rhyme. If he's alone in his cave, he doesn't have to do anything. He can just, let his hair down and such.
I'm off the clock.
Rhyming is optional.
Sometimes the bird fills in the rhyme for him, but most of the time, he makes it work. Watch and learn Illumination Seuss movies.
That is very fair. God. Yeah, it's not as bad as the live action Cat in the Hat, I'll grant you that. I rhymed better than him just there. But yeah, and also, at one point when Katie mentions that the king and queen are threatening to execute her, I think specifically about the queen, he did make some kind of comment about how, maybe I should get at her for that. I'm like, okay, that's weirdly noble of you, which I get it, the Fae can be inconsistent in morals, but huh?
I could excuse extortion, but I draw the line at threatening to murder you.
Yeah, when are we going to get a Fae that actually does go through with, eating the rich, overthrowing the monarchs, the tyrants? That would be cool.
I mean, we technically did. We're trying to go that direction for Golden Sugar.
See, I was going to say we got to stop writing all the Fae as nobles and royalty in our romantasy novels first.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They are usually of nobility and such. I have yet to hear about a fairy peasant.
Oh, I would love to read that, though.
Yeah, they don't need to be Jareth knockoffs. Just make a regular fairy baker or cobbler or something. Oh, well, we got fairy cobblers. They're leprechauns, but nobody seems to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, leprechauns or the elves and the shoemaker. That's another one that we talked about last year that apparently most people don't remember. River had never even heard of it until we covered that episode. And I'm just like, oh man. But yeah, they go through the typical routine of it's 3 nights, because, fairy tales love the number 3. 3 nights of Rumpelstiltskin spinning straw into gold for her. She gives him her necklace for it. She gives him her ring, which, is one of the things that Vivian Van Veld mentions in the Rumpelstiltskin problems. Like, yeah, that does not make sense in this story. If he can spin straw into gold, what the fuck does he need with jewelry?
Maybe it's an equivalency exchange, because there was the idea of you need to give something up in order to make magic happen.
Well, for sure.
Yeah, they play with that in the middle grade book Rump, which is an alternate retelling origin story for Rumpelstiltskin, where he can spin straw into gold, but someone needs to offer something in exchange for him in order to do it.
Yep, which, wow, a room full of gold is worth a necklace? Okay.
And also the happily ever after episode, just, she has to give that up because it's something precious to her.
Yeah.
And of course he wants it, even though it's just, maybe something really cheap, like a marble on some lace. So
yeah, it has to be precious to her thing. That absolutely would make sense. And they kind of imply that in this one, I guess, because
it was her mother's necklace, yeah.
Yeah, it's like probably the last thing she has of her. And it is kind of funny how he's always like analyzing it like a jeweler.
And also he keeps losing the jewelry after this. Like the first time with the necklace, the bird drops it into the cauldron. And then the second time, he drops the ring into the fire.
And he starts ranting, and Billy Barty is just the master of mugging and ranting. The necklace, how could I be so reckless?
Nah, we do love Billy Barty in this house. He's always a hoot. And to Amy Irving's credit, well, again, I do have some objections to what they did to her voice in this. She does well with what she's given.
She tries.
I did love that bit where she calls out the queen.
And you, beautiful young lady, you must be this fine miller's daughter.
That she is, your lordliness. Katie is her name.
She has a tongue in her head, hasn't she?
Yes, I do, and you ought not talk to a tax-paying subject like that. Your Highness.
But also, again, who has let this miller's daughter be completely unaware of her place, apparently?
Also love the part in the beginning where when the Miller's first talking about her ability, she walks in. There's like, hey, Katie, how many planets are there in the solar system? 9.
And she's able to name a constellation. Yeah, she's clearly very knowledgeable.
Yeah, she is. Now it's like, now answer me truthfully. Did you spin that necklace into gold? He looks at his friend. Katie looks at her dad.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
If you say so, Father.
She's just, clearly this is not the first time he has pulled some bullshit like this, so she's just like, oh my god, I don't want to get you into trouble with your friend, but really, Dad? Really? But yeah, no, this movie does make an effort to make it clear, no, Katie is smart. And that is, of course, something we want the little girls watching this to aspire to. They are actually kind of trying to make her not just some
silly damsel in distress without a brain in her head.
Which is kind of baked into the story itself.
Yeah, and the story, at least the one I read, she eventually goes out into the woods and finds, Rumpelstiltskin, discovers the name himself. Whereas other stories, kind of like in this one, she sends someone else to do the work for her. But
Or in this case, the bird flies to the nonverbal little girl and says, his name is Rumpelstiltskin, remember that.
And in fairness, Katie does do a whole lot of research during that sequence. We see her, just pouring through all the books looking for names. She has a whole song about trying to find the names. Certainly not as catchy as Gotta Get That Name, but...
I was gonna say, it's no Gotta Get That Name.
No, what could be.
Gotta get that name, 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 gotta get it. We got to get that name, we got to get that name, gotta get that name.
Let's talk about Emily. She's this nonverbal servant in the castle who kind of shows up halfway through.
I wanted Katie to adopt her.
I feel like she kind of has at this point.
And Rumpelstiltskin technically didn't mention firstborn, just said first child.
Oh, thank God that didn't end up happening then. Oh, that would have actually made this movie a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, she shows up, and at first I really couldn't tell what her relationship with the king and queen of the royal family was. If she was a maid or servant or just the second born child no one talks about because she's nonverbal. I feel like I code her as nonverbal neurodivergent, but
Oh yeah, no, they're clearly trying to say like, yeah, no, she can't
Or
speak.
selective mutism.
Yeah.
And that's why they kind of make it a big thing at the end where she has to say the name. It kind of would have been nice to like build that up more though. Like she wants to be able
like
to
I was fully
communicate
expecting her to like do like the charade sequence like they do in Beetlejuice.
Well, that'd be funny. But no. Remember, dear listeners, apparently, if you or someone you love is nonverbal, all you need to do to make them verbal is to put a child's life in danger and have a crow tell her to say a very weird name.
Rumpelstiltskin is all Emily is ever going to be able to say after this.
Which is crazy. That is some garbunk shit. Yeah, so like the queen sends her to spy on her, but basically Katie immediately wins her loyalty because she's nice to her. Because, yeah, if you look at how the king and queen are, no fucking wonder.
Yeah, that king. The way he loses his mind over gold, it reminded me of the husband like in Gaslight who was like literally salivating over the crown jewels.
Yeah.
It is like deeply unpleasant.
Scrooge McDuck would be telling this guy to calm down around.
Yes.
No, truly, because like Scrooge McDuck already has a whole lot of gold, and so does this king. But it's like this man cannot have enough of it. Like literally, even Henry is just like, "Sire, why do you desire more gold?" And he goes into his fucking musical number.
And why is the queen even into this?
Yeah, she totally just eggs him on. Like, the only thing they seem to disagree on is whether or not to believe Katie. Like, she is definitely the brains in this outfit, and frankly, and I'm not just saying this as a sapphic, but she is definitely hotter than him.
And played by Amy Irving's mom.
Yeah, so it's just like, Your Majesty, step the fuck up.
I get a feeling she's maybe distracting him with his gold obsession, so that way she can really be the one running the things behind the scenes.
I wouldn't be surprised.
She must be. They had a little reference to the goose that laid the golden egg, although it was a chicken in this for some reason.
Jack and the Beanstalk reference?
They do have a Jack and the Beanstalk one, I know, because that was what popped up as a suggestion of me to watch after watching this on YouTube. Are they trying to do a connected universe? Because that's really dumb if so.
Also, it kind of implies that the queen is actually just as goody because, like, the horse that the farmer and the two people were arguing over, she gets the horse, while the king gets the golden egg.
Yeah, no, like, she is very complicit in his bullshit, as she enables him.
Yep, especially with how many times a year they do taxes.
We support women's rights and women's wrongs.
Do we? Not here, I don't think.
Not in this economy.
It depends on the wrongs.
Like, if it felt like she had some level of internal life, yes, I would agree with you.
Explain why she's like this, maybe. But she's just kind of there to be supportive in an evil way.
Yeah, she reminds me of, like, the queen from The Princess and the Pea, specifically Once Upon a Mattress, where she,
oh my god, yeah.
Is against the son marrying, a filthy commoner, is, like, trying to keep, anyone in the kingdom away from him.
She and Agravain definitely do brunch.
I do. I will.
Also, one could make a certain connection to how the king is a greedy, lecherous man, obsessed with gold, takes pride in his avarice, starves his subjects while taking everything they've got, stealing directly from his supporters in plain sight. But for the life of me, I can't think of who.
Message!
Yeah, unfortunately. Again, it really frustrates me that part of growing up has become realizing that the most cartoony bad guys from my childhood were actually a warning.
That there are, in fact, people in real life that are that stupid and evil and that powerful.
And they're obvious about it, and people keep buying it, and it's...
Yeah, because, the entire court is singing along with his villain song, and it's just like...
He's greedy, yes indeedy, and we love him just the way he is. With his charm so rare, he's a king beyond compare, and you'll never see a set of teeth like his.
Like, you've got all these women giving him their jewelry, and I'm just like, what is happening? What do you get out of this?
They're not even giving him the jewelry. He's, like, stealing it, like, off their necks and their rings as he's going by.
Yeah.
Acting like he's Disney's Robin Hood, but worse.
What do you get out of this, ladies? Ladies, step the fuck up!
Yeah, I'm all for them overthrowing the king at some point.
Amen.
After Henry and Katie get married, there is some implications that things have gotten better for at least the servants, at least for Emily. Like, she's dressed much better.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he does seem to realize, yeah, my dad is a bad man, a bad king, and he's going to try to step up. So we can only hope from there.
Down with the monarchy in general, but if we had to choose, yes, I would absolutely go for Katie and Henry, maybe being a little silly, but ultimately wanting to do good over that. Like,
Yep.
Because, like, even though, yeah, we don't really get that much of Katie and Henry's romance, but they do at least try with what scenes they have. We never really see them, like, bonding over anything, but, you know, he's just instantly devoted to her. And she's, like, only really conflicted because it's just like, yeah, and I had always wanted to marry a prince, but, I mean, you're wonderful.
Yeah, we get that scene by the pond.
I did kind of like that. That was kind of cute.
I like that, too. Yeah.
Henry's all, would you like me to introduce you to the prince? And then shows her his reflection. And she's all, you.
Yeah.
I just wish we got more of those moments.
And the proposal was also really sweet.
I knew you could do it. Will you be my bride?
Most assuredly. On 2 conditions.
Whatever your heart desires.
First, that you ask my father for permission.
Gladly.
Secondly, that I never have to see another spinning wheel ever again.
That fills up kind of a plot hole people claim the story has. Like, you know, the king marries someone who can spin gold. Why doesn't he just make her keep doing it? But she has, like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. And he respects her. That's great.
Because he loves her.
It also reminds me of an iteration of the story. I don't know, not like a direct version, but kind of a different iteration of it. These 3 old women who are either witches or fairies come to help the protagonist with her impossible tasks, but on the condition that they get to sit with her at her wedding day, and they're welcomed as her aunts, which she does. And when the prince asks, why are your eyes all red and going blind, and why are your hands all spindly, and like all these, and why are you hunched, all these notably not very attractive features, they say, oh, it's from working so hard and so long into the night. And the prince decides, okay, I'm not going to make my wife do that anymore. I want her to age gracefully. So
interesting. I mean, he's a little bold for asking all of that, but I guess when you're a prince, nobody calls you out on you being rude.
Yeah, it is. I gotta look up that story. I've read it. Oh, I've got a whole bunch of different fairy tale books. I think it's in one of those, but
I'm sure. Like, that's the thing. There are a whole lot of fairy tales that don't get adapted as much, and therefore most of modern culture don't know about it. Like, hell, pretty recently they found, like, a whole bunch of, as of yet, unknown German fairy tales, like, very old lost media. So,
whoa. Wow.
Yeah, no, I know they released a book of them. I've yet to read it, but I definitely want to at some point.
Oh, you gotta give me the name. I gotta look this up. If it's something the Grimms missed, then absolutely, I'd love to take a look at them.
I don't even think it was necessarily just the Grimms, but yeah, you know.
No, I mean ones that they might have missed when they were collecting the stories.
Oh, I'm sure. I think that's what it was, yeah. Editor Jasmine here. You know how I said this was recent? This was back in 2012, turns out. I don't like the passage of time. Can we talk about that? There, like, the I Love the Miller's Daughter crashing into Queen at the Castle? Most of the music in this movie is fine, but this was definitely a low point. Like, they were trying to make a medley, like an Act 1 closer a la One Day More, and just no.
An effort was made.
Yeah, the YouTube captions were a mess.
I like traditionally seeing, like, the straw be into gold bricks. I appreciate that the straw looks like straw, even though
it's clearly tinsel. It's clearly tinsel here.
It is Easter basket filling, but it
palm
is
decorations. Yeah,
it is.
I don't know. The image of gold glitter flying everywhere while Rumpel is just throwing the straw at the spinning wheel is hilarious.
It is.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to be like in the cartoons where they just throw up the gold coins. Like, they're trying to do something like like that, but there's a reason that works in animation, not necessarily in live action, guys.
How hard do you think it was to get all the gold glitter out of their costumes when they were done filming?
Oh, I'm sure they never did. Glitter does not go away.
It is called craft herpes for a reason.
The Miller should have gotten more comeuppance. He shouldn't have just gotten, like, beer dumped on him.
Yeah.
I don't think he even apologized.
He makes barely a token attempt to try to get Katie out. Like, he'll show up to the castle door, and then the guards will just turn away and be like, oh, okay, guess I'll go.
They showed him, like, hey, this is what's going to happen to your daughter if she fucks up, and he gets, like, this really uncomfortable look on his face. But, yeah, no apologies, no real proper comeuppance other than having beer poured on him, which, yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, I guess the fact that we don't see him again after that makes me think, yeah, Katie's probably not inviting him to the castle very much.
Yep.
Probably.
Go low contact, baby girl. No one would blame you.
He got banished.
Like, just once I would like a version of this where the daughter's just like, yeah, I'm never speaking to you again for putting me through this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, speaking of that scene, there's a weird moment where she's on the balcony and everyone's celebrating the wedding, and Rumpelstiltskin appears to taunt her, and she just goes, oh! But then all of a sudden, everyone stops and falls silent and looks to her like she screamed bloody murder. It's so weird.
Yeah, no, it's not like she was screaming like Macbeth when Banquo's ghost showed up. Like, what are we doing? Oh, can we get a little commotion for her maternity dress, though? That,
yes! Yeah, even though it was, like, clearly, like, covering, like, a beach ball, like, a belly. That is how pregnant bellies are.
A little basketball there, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a nice shot, apart from the somewhat distracting palm trees in the background. Yes, the ancient palm trees of the faraway European fairy tale kingdom.
Listen. Fairy tales take place nowhere in particular except faraway land. So this faraway land has deciduous trees and palm trees. It's fine. And of course, Rumpelstiltskin comes back for his bargain. And she's just like, no. I'm like any halfway decent mother, because here's the thing. One of the things that people say is a problem with this fairy tale is like, why does she give up her baby that easily and then get surprised when he comes back to collect? And we do get this little flashback to Henry swearing that he'll protect her no matter what. So it's just like, okay, I'm covered. We can do this together. Somehow. Not that she ever asks him for help when the time comes.
No, it's literally just her and Emily against Rumpel.
I actually like when the prince gets involved, and because it does show how much they really love each other. Like, again, going back to Happily Ever After, she eventually tells the king, and she's worried because of how he reacts, because, of course, he once threatened to, throw her in the dungeon. But by this point, he's gone through his character arc and says, I love you. We'll figure this out together. And they do. They work together to solve it. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's been a while since I've watched that. I absolutely should rewatch that at some point. Yeah.
And one could argue that, she made the bargain under duress, so there's not a lot there. And you never know. She could turn out barren, for all she knows.
That is true.
So,
exactly.
Yeah, no, and it's like she had to do what she had to do to survive to tomorrow. Like, that was future her's problem. And to her credit, like, even though she had initially been like, okay, my prince will protect me, she was just like, you know what? No, I made my bed. I am going to figure this out, especially since the crow was nice enough to plant the idea, what about have her guess your name, Rumpelstiltskin? And I guess Rumpelstiltskin can't resist a challenge.
One more chance to kind of like stick it to you. That's, the mark of all good villains.
Yeah.
Yep, exactly. And, we get the whole montage of her trying desperately to guess his name, one of which was Hiawatha.
Ugh.
Like, what?
I think the name Sue was like a boy named Sue shout out for some reason.
That actually would be really funny if there was one.
The timeline seems to add up, I suppose.
Oh, absolutely.
Ebenezer, which makes sense with the whole greed thing going on in this story. Speaking
Very
of, the
much so.
king's name is called King Mezer, which I thought of Nebuchadnezzar from the Bible, but also
I
kind of
think it
sounds
was like you know how there's a spelling of
Miser,
MESSR, like at least like a title, like Monsignor or something.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
so maybe they were trying to kind of like, well, we can't out and out call him King Miser, and we certainly can't call him King Ebenezer. Everyone's gonna groan at this already cheesy fairy tale.
And we can't call him King Midas either, even though he does get a name drop in I'm Greedy.
He does. He does get a name drop, which is It's just like, do you know how that story ends, Your Majesty? Because it doesn't end well for King Midas.
I think he, like, quit around the middle. Like, after, like, after he got the golden touch. He does not seem to, like, read things all the way through or follow things through unless he's, like, prompted.
The king is not very smart.
He doesn't remember that it's, whenever we put people to task, we have a 3-day limit until the 3rd day comes around.
Like, you gotta do it 3 times, man. That is written by your forefathers. Like, again, the queen definitely has the brains in this couple, which, listen, some women like to have a himbo, I guess. I don't think he respects women enough for that, but I'm sure that is more or less the motivation here. She likes a dumbass she can control.
Yeah, she's Cersei, he's Robert, so yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it.
Also, this ridiculous moment, I can't let it go. When the bird tells Emily, Rumpelstiltskin's the name, he actually says, caw! He doesn't make the noise, he actually says the word caw.
Again, he's got to hold up appearances, I guess.
Beautiful.
And again, it's just so funny how that was all it took for her to just like, okay, I'm going to look in the mirror and force out the sounds. And that was apparently eventually enough for her to out and say Rumpelstiltskin while she and Katie are hiding away from Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, here's the thing. He's got the baby in his arms and Katie's like, no, don't take away the baby. But then Rumpelstiltskin gives Emily the baby. It's like, why would you let it go? You have it.
What are you doing?
Also, did you forget that you can teleport?
Yeah.
He can teleport by jump cut.
Yeah, we see that in his little My Name Is, like, it's a very short song, but it's just him gloating, because, that's what happens in the story. It's really a story of pride going before the fall, Mr. Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you are doing a riddle game about your name, why would you sing it? Like, at the very least, he's not singing around a fire in a forest for God and everyone to hear. He's at least doing it in his hideout, but it's still just like, my dude.
It's like a very fun gloating song. There are moments where it feels like he's looking at the camera, like winking at the audience.
He says, oh, well, my name is, and then he looks directly into the camera and says, oh, well, don't spoil the game.
Yeah, that moment is like where he's singing. It feels very much like in a pantomime stage show. He would be singing directly to the kids. Like
this is kind of just a filmed pantomime, isn't it? It has that energy, at least.
It does.
But, he's right behind you.
I know he's behind me.
But yeah, Emily gives the game away, and Katie decides to toy with him, like, for a bit. It's just like, okay, let me guess 2 wrong names again. And then is it Rumpelstiltskin? I do appreciate how smug she is. She deserves it after all she's been through in this movie.
Yes.
And yeah, crack in the floor. We're gonna have to fix that.
Oh no, it's actually fixed because it closes it back in, literally.
And then Henry shows up. Is like, dear, are you all right? Do I have any relevance in the story anymore?
Yeah, no, because there really is no danger, so no, not really. Just for Katie to basically tell him the moral of the story.
When you're good and smart and kind of heart, there's nothing you can't win.
Which, I mean, a decent moral, I guess.
Emily literally has the last word.
And says Rumpelstiltskin into the camera with a big smile on her face. That's the last shot we see. Feels like that could be made very unsettling with just the slightest bit of editing. And that's the end. With a choir singing Straw into Gold over the credits. Because they're really trying to push that song. As if this thing has an album.
I think it did get like a read-along record or cassette tape I found on YouTube.
That makes sense.
But yeah, they were trying to push the golden thing like 40 years before we got a song.
But Rumpelstiltskin is not going up, up, up. He is going down, down, down.
Canon Movie Tales has the same appeal as an FMV cutscene, or at least a Magic Quest. Like, if you've ever been to Great Wolf Lodge, like a Magic Quest cutscene. It depends on certain locations if they still have them or not, and that's a whole other rabbit hole to go down. Inflation rates must go crazy.
Oh, God.
Yeah, that is one thing that you could tell this is fairy tale logic where somebody being able to spin straw into gold would actually probably tank the economy.
Thanks, Rumpelflation.
So hey, inner child, like, we should raise our standards a little bit, inner child. Maybe just a smidgen.
It's kind of disappointing that this was Billy Barty's only leading role. Like, he should have gotten more work.
Yeah.
He was great.
He's a very talented, very entertaining, but unfortunately that's, those are the
Let's face it,
standards at the time.
Yeah.
It's a miracle Warwick Davis has the career he does, let alone anybody else, unfortunately.
I mean, I get why Peter Dinklage is upset. Hollywood can do so much better, but I also can't judge, little people for taking up these parts. And then if they make the most of it, like Billy does here, then more power to them.
I don't think Dinklage is necessarily judging anybody for taking work where they can. It's like, people always played it as if he was trying to yank the ladder out from under him, but it's just like, no, he's just saying, Hollywood, do better. Give us more to do than this.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be great. That would be super great.
It would be nice to not get typecast.
It would be nice if we got Peter Dinklage play Cyrano, which he does.
Yes, he does. Yep, and we will talk about that eventually.
And he's a very good Casca Highbottom, which we will talk about eventually.
Yeah, this November, in fact.
Spoilers.
Yeah, Hollywood, do better.
And of course, we got some good foreshadowing for Rumpel's fate because he causes his earthquakes when he gets mad and stomping around.
And he breaks his foot at one point.
He breaks his foot at one point. It says,
to set it up.
Yeah, and I actually have a quote here. Just call me Viggo Mortensen.
No.
The foot. The king faints when he comes into the room and sees she spun the straw for the third time, and my first reaction was like, oh well, he's dead. Time to swear in JD Vance.
Yeah, that was he should have just keeled over. He should have keeled over. He should have just keeled over.
We never see the king and queen again after the wedding, just saying.
That would be an ironic death.
Yeah.
Katie and Henry, I would not have blamed you if you had anything to do with that.
It was for the greater good.
I'm not going to pretend I didn't still get some nostalgic joy out of this, but yeah, this does not hold up at all.
I can get why people who might have grown up with this would find this fun and nostalgic. Maybe I would have liked it too if I saw it as a kid, but as far as it goes, not the best version of the story, but I wouldn't call it the worst either.
But the one shining point is Billy Barty's performance, at least.
If it's canon movie tales, you kind of know what you're expecting.
Clive Rebel, the king, he's great too. They're both like the saving graces of this movie.
He is chewing that scenery, and I am.
To the actors' credit, they're all trying their best with this. I would love it if I ever actually fulfill my dream of becoming a mother and I don't have to give away my firstborn child just to survive like Katie does. It would be nice if I had a better version of Rumpelstiltskin to show them than this and a 10-minute Muppet short. It would be nice.
Again, we got the Happily Ever After episode.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also Fairytale Theater that was the second episode, but
Shelley Duvall played the Miller's daughter, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that had Hervé Villechaize as Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it's interesting, though I wouldn't call it a great episode. But yeah, it'd be fun to see what something like Disney could do if they were able to figure out how to make the story work for feature length.
They tried at one point. There was going to be one called Uncle Stiltskin that was in development for a while, but then that never happened.
Uncle Stiltskin?
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about it because I think it died pretty early on in development. Which is a shame,
because, as a kid, I really wanted to see Disney tackle this story.
And if Lunar Chronicle movies go well, we might get a Gilded adaptation. I don't know.
Maybe.
I did not read that book, but I've heard good things about it.
I started it, but I never got around to finishing it. It's a big book.
Yeah, I could see Rumpelstiltskin working as a great Disney villain or like a fun sort of trickster thing. Like the way Uncle Stiltskin sounds, it sounds like it could be something like a little bit of like the genie meets Grunkle Stan from Gravity Falls.
Grunkle Stiltskin, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can be a Bugs Bunny figure.
Listen, the genie's out of the bottle when it comes to Rumpelstiltskin as a romantic figure. It can be done to varying degrees of quality. But it can technically be done. That is an option. But with that all in mind, so why does Rumpelstiltskin endure enough that I wish we had better adaptations of it?
It makes
mainstream
you
ones, anyway.
question everything about fairy tale logic. It makes you question all the choices that the characters have made and said, okay, why did they do this? And what if we did this instead? So it's really very malleable. And it also teaches you the importance of equivalency exchange.
We like seeing a battle of wits. We like seeing trickster figures get outsmarted.
Especially by the everyman, or every woman in this case.
It's a bit of a rags to riches tale, but also shows, I guess you could say, the downsides, or at least the struggles that a lot of women might have to face, that they might have to, have to sell their soul, in a matter of speaking, to be able to get to a good place. And also that resilience and kindness, like in a lot of stories, can help win you over, win over other people, help save the day. And it's probably because there's a name attached, one of the more notable examples, again, of how the Fae work, what they usually do. And most people tend to lose sight of that. They just think he's like a random little guy, but
there is a power in names.
There's a power. Yes, there's a power in names. So,
and all magic comes with a price.
Yep.
It took us
So
that
we get
long.
a lot of fairy tale classic motifs in one story. And it's got the symbolism and the motifs of, like, the whole straw into gold thing sounds ridiculous but wondrous. Mm-hmm. And the whole the motive of 3, because we've got 3 days to try to guess the name.
And 3 days to spin all the straw into gold.
Yeah.
Yes. There's a lot of interesting directions you can take with it, but there's a really solid foundation there. In some ways, it's one of the more quintessential fairy tales.
Man, this made me feel a lot better than the discussion in Muppet Classic Theater. Thank you, guys. Because, for whatever reason, baby me latched on to this story. She thought it was really interesting. And I think all of those reasons do hold up a lot. And I even said in the last episode, on some level, I think a lot of us who are child-free, but not necessarily because we want to be, but because circumstances just have not
left you able to be a parent.
I think what the Miller's daughter has to go through kind of resonates with me even more as an adult. Because, the economy's in shambles, y'all. I don't know if you know this. I'm too broke and too single for this shit.
We all are.
Yep.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I think that could be an angle for a Rumpelstiltskin adaptation, if someone were so inclined. And also, you could also throw in this is what happens when you make up stories, guys.
This is what happens when you let rumors spread, when you brag and you boast and put your daughter in danger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, one more note. I completely forgot. Rumpelstiltskin really wants a child. He could have just taken a baby from that one family, that one big family here during the rumor mill scene. If he wasn't so obsessed with just wanting a royal baby, then he could have just
they might have considered it.
That's a whole other fairy tale there, but yeah. Yeah.
More adaptations of Rumpelstiltskin, please. We don't really want to associate him with Once Upon a Time, even though Robert Carlyle is doing a good job in being silly and goofy.
Yes, this is nothing against Robert Carlyle. We love Robert Carlyle.
We want more.
Yeah, justice for Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah.
Again, this is not the best version of the story, not the worst. It's an interesting one, to say the least.
Honestly, I would really love an adaptation of Rumpelstiltskin's daughter someday.
Oh, yeah. That's a good
Or
one.
an adaptation of one of the stories from the Rumpelstiltskin problem that I've been shouting out throughout this episode. It basically is Vivian Benveld saying, hey, this story doesn't make a lick of sense, so I'm going to tell you 6 different versions that answer all the questions that this fairy tale makes me ask. And they're all really fun, and they go in wildly different directions. There's one where Rumpelstiltskin's a domovoi from Russian folklore, so that's really cool.
Ooh.
You know what? You can hear more about that on our Patreon later, wink wink.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of our Patreon, unless anyone has any further thoughts, shall we go into Pug?
I also want a better version of a romance between Rumpelstiltskin and the Miller's daughter. I just want it. It is latched onto my brain since childhood and has not let go.
That's it. I'm gifting you a copy of this book because the second story is literally that.
Yes!
Yeah, I've read Gilded by Marissa Mayer for one of my master's classes about recommending books for teens, and it's an interesting duology that does take the more romantic angle between Rumpelstiltskin and the Miller's daughter. There's this whole, world building with different gods and all that, and again, like the Fae and the Wild Hunt, and It's, yeah.
No, it's really interesting what bits I read. It's just so big, and I was just not in the mood.
It can be very dark in places, but it's just really fascinating. Very well done.
Hell yeah. Anyway,
I guess pluggables?
I am Cutie Puppy Fire on most of the socials. If you're not following me there, give me a follow. That would be nice.
You can find me on the online news on Tumblr. I make all the graphics for this podcast and for our sibling podcast, 6 Degrees of Star Wars. If you like my work and want to commission me, come hit me up.
I am Jen Seggio, all lowercase one letter, on most social media, though I've been avoiding most social media for my mental health. But you can find my blog on WordPress up on the shelf reviews, where I've posted reviews of just about anything I like, a lot of movies. I've reviewed the entirety of Shelley Duvall's Fairytale Theater, too. And I've been on a break for a while I was getting my master's degree, but now I'm done. And I'm hoping to get back to posting soon. And I have a YouTube page. I'm sorry. Again, I want to apologize. I've got a couple different things here.
Don't apologize. That's what this is here for. Just send me the links to everything and we'll be good.
Okay. I got a YouTube page, the It and FIT, where I just post random videos for fun. And I do have a children's book coming out hopefully soon. It's the first book I've illustrated. It's called Ava's Chalk by Jeanette Fazari Jones. It's coming from a smaller press, Ever Imagine Press, and I am so excited for you all to see it.
Yay!
Yay!
Is it up for pre-order yet or no?
Not yet, but hopefully soon.
Hopefully soon. That'll be great. I'm sure we got parents listening in on this podcast, or honestly, appreciators of all literature. We are not going to judge you for reading picture books.
And for this week's Heroes Call to Action, to kind of help make up for the fact this was barely a Pride Month episode, we are shouting out Margie's Closet's GoFundMe for keeping Margie's Closet open for trans support and safety. Margie's Hope opened a non-profit trans-affirming clothing store in 2021, where the community may shop in peace and safety. It made such a community impact that it was voted as one of the best of Cleveland in 2021. In subsequent years, the space has grown to become not only a place to shop, but a designated space to rally around the transgender, non-binary, and gender-expansive community in ways of support, from resources to peer-to-peer support groups, or just a place for the community to escape the harsh realities of targeted trans attacks, both legislatively as well as socially. Margie's Closet has become a safe haven for the trans community in Northeast Ohio. It's the only physical space owned and operated by transgender leadership in the area. And in recent years, most marginalized groups have come under hardships due to political executive orders, forcing most foundations who aid in much-needed funding and relief to readdress how they support local LGBTQIA+ organizations, if at all. And Margie's Closet/Hope has become just one of the many who has suffered the weight. Once heavily supported by their local NBA team amongst other institutions, they now struggle to keep the lights on and the doors open to a safe space that took years to cultivate and the trans community can depend upon. And so they are trying to raise money to kind of keep what is clearly a safe haven for the trans community in Ohio, which could really use it. So if you have room in your wallets, please consider donating. Link is, as always, in the show notes.
And as always, you can find me at Faye Riviera on all the socials. And please consider checking out this podcast's Tumblr page, anichretellingpodcast.tumblr.com. Please consider using the podcatcher of your choice to rate and review us, and spread the word about us where you can. Maybe you have friends who will like our Muppet episodes, or maybe you'll have friends who will like it when we talk more about Jane Austen. One of my goals with Any True Telling is that there is truly, almost certainly, an episode for everyone. And if you have room in your wallets, please consider donating to our Patreon. Our various tiers give you access to episodes a little bit early. It gives you access to our IER book club that I started during the hiatus. And it gets you a direct thank you in the credits, such as for Kyle Calgren, Connor Duffy, and Juan Garcia. Thanks so much for your contributions. This is making it all the more likely that this podcast keeps going. You can also support us through our Ko-Fi or the Support the Show link below. However you choose to support us, however, just the fact that you are listening to us means the world to us and helps us reach the next chapter of our story.
And speaking of the next chapter of our story, I promise our next episode will be truly a prideful episode. We are going to be talking about the pro shot of the recent production of National Theatre's The Importance of Being Earnest, starring Chuti Gatwa. It is harder to get gayer than an Oscar Wilde play starring Chuti Gatwa in a dress. I'm hyped. I hope you're hyped and you will join us. And remember, stories gain power in each retelling. And when you're good and smart and kind of heart, there's nothing you can't win.
And it never hurts to remember a name like
Rumpelstiltskin.
You cannot think how pleased the queen was to hear that name. And soon afterwards, when the little man walked in and said, "Now, Mrs. Queen, what is my name?" she said at first, "Are you called Jack?" "No," answered he. "Are you called Harry?" she asked again. "No," answered he. And then she said, "Then perhaps your name is Rumpelstiltskin?" "The devil told you that! The devil told you that!" cried the little man, and in his anger he stamped with his right foot so hard that it went into the ground above his knee. Then he seized his left foot with both his hands in such a fury that he split in two, and there was the end of him.